Denver won 14 games and reached the AFC Championship last season. The Chargers won 11 games and just handed Justin Herbert's offense to Mike McDaniel. The Chiefs went 6-11, but can Patrick Mahomes come back and take the crown? 3 teams can realistically win this division.
We agree on the winner, but we may strongly disagree on how the rest of the division plays out, how the playoff picture will play out, and how close this race actually might be.
Can Denver defend its title? Will Mahomes take back the West? Or is this finally Justin Herbert's division? Let's go ahead and build our standings.
We'll discuss all 4 teams in a fixed order. At the end, we will reveal our predictions and our standings on screen, revealing our division winners and which teams can be a playoff contender from this division. First up, we're going to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders and whether that they're still rebuilding or good enough to disrupt this division title race.
Off the bat, they are rebuilding. Let's be real. I would say 90% they're on the rebuilding thing. 10% they can disrupt this division to a certain extent, but if I have to keep it real, I'm gonna say they're still rebuilding. This roster finally got the quarterback of the future. This roster still needs work on the weapon side of things. They addressed a little bit of the need on the defensive side, and for now they have Max Crosby, who they could still flip if they really wanted to.
Well, the biggest addition that they possibly have made after Fernando Mendoza has to be the reigning offensive coordinator, Super Bowl champion of the Seattle Seahawks, Clint Kubiak. And we have to see how this guy can step up and take the responsibility of being a head coach while producing a great offensive scheme and being a great play caller. And his quarterback development is going to be the biggest thing here because he worked with a veteran guy in Sam Darnold. Yes, he needed some fixing, but Sam Darnold's main development happened with Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings. This one is Fernando Mendoza, rookie year. I know he is a college football champion, national champion, but this guy is a rookie. He is a little bit raw. He needs some developing. Can Clint Kubiak handle all those responsibilities all at once? That's the main question mark I have for him and his head coaching job.
Well, here's the thing. The one big thing you didn't mention about Clint Kubiak, yes, all of that what you said is true, but the biggest thing he needs to do before, obviously, do everything you said, is get a culture going. The Vegas Raiders culture was god-awful last year. There's a reason why they moved off of Pete Carroll and everybody else they needed to move off of Geno Smith and so on and so forth. So bringing a guy like Clint Kubiak from the Mike McDonald tree from Seattle, and what did Seattle do last year? Win the Super Bowl. Where did we rank Mike McDonald in terms of head coaches in the NFL? Top 3. And go check out our head coaches tier list where we talked about each and every one's head coach. Clint Kubiak had first-hand experience of what it looks like to be under there. He also had, overall, that's for me, the first thing Clint Kubiak has to establish is the culture of the franchise.
I believe the best possible outcome for the Las Vegas Raiders, if you're looking at it from their future-wise, is obviously finishing pretty low in the standings and having another high pick to help their rebuild. But I'm going to put all of that things to aside. I'm just going to look at pure performance. I think the best possible outcome for the Las Vegas Raiders, if you're looking at like a 7 and 8 win team, and they actually are being more competitive than getting steamrolled like they were last year. What is your best possible outcome for the Raiders?
Play spoiler, put themselves in the wild card race. Here's the thing. I guess this is where best case outcome is going to be. This is a question I'm going to pose to you now. When does Fernando Mendoza get in? Because I think we both can agree that it's probably going to be Kirk Cousins to start, right? Again, it's tough because I don't want to spoil what my record is for these guys because that's we're going to keep that to the end. So make sure if you guys are watching, stay tuned. But I'll say this. Obviously, it's no secret that we didn't even mention this team in the hook. So we know that this team isn't really going to contend for the division. I was always confused with this team. I was confused with the Titans in our AFC South video because I'm like, the South, that they can do a little bit more. Whereas if I'm comparing this to the Raiders team, I'm like, okay, I favor the Raiders team a little bit more. The way I have their wins kind of scheduled out is like couple in the beginning, couple in the middle, couple at the end. Their bye week right now is week 13, right? When does he get in? Like, because at the end of the day, if they're gonna make the playoffs with Kirk Cousins, sorry, I know I cut you off. Sorry, the Kirk Cousins, that is a different story. But realistically, we don't think that's gonna happen.
They're not making the playoffs with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins' best years are behind him. This guy did end off his season pretty well with Atlanta Falcons, but Kirk Cousins' Atlanta career was dog water, to say it as a most respectful
Kind
way
of got it
possible.
back a little bit last year, but
the main thing is that this guy is the transitional QB, so Fernando Mendoza could get in. Now, the biggest concern I have about when he could get in is because their schedule is a little bit tough, because obviously the AFC West, there are 3 teams that are clearly better than them on paper.
so that's 6 games.
And they play the NFC West, which are 3
So
teams
that's
that are
another
probably
3
Super
games.
Bowl contenders.
Yeah.
Right?
3 of the best
So,
head coaches.
At the end of the day, there is no right time for Mendoza to get in. It's just when he looks good in training, when he looks good in practice, and when Kubiak thinks it's the right time, you just put him in. I don't think you look at level of opponent. I don't think you look at what's next in the schedule. I think you just purely, it's an eye test. If this guy is producing during the practice weeks, that's when he's ready to go in. I mean, I think that's the best case.
The problem is
Scenario for Mendoza,
it's such a late buy, right? Otherwise, I would have said if the bye week was like week 9, okay, then maybe you give it to then, right? Yeah, like for whatever reason, let's say Kirk turns back the clock and is able to put him into the wild card race. This might be Patrick Mahomes' year for
it could be
Patrick Mahomes' rookie year for Fernando Mendoza.
The main thing, the biggest weakness for me for the Raiders has to be their wide receivers.
Yeah.
Losing Jacoby Myers last year didn't really replace it. That doesn't mean they have 0 weapons, because they do have Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, who is looking to improve upon his rookie season, because in my opinion, his rookie season was pretty lackluster. Good news for him. And for me, believing in him is, like you said, the culture wasn't there. The system was haywire. And the O-line wasn't there. There have been made improvements to the O-line, adding a big center in Linderbaum as well. But I think it's pretty agreed upon that the wide receivers are the weakest part.
Your addition
of
is
this football
Jalen
team.
Naylor. That would have been ideal if you already had an established number 1 wide receiver guy. But at the end of the day, yeah, I agree with you. That is for me, it's at least the biggest concern for them.
Las Vegas may not be in the division race at the moment. They may be rebuilding at the moment, but they sure as hell can determine who wins the division by stealing a game off of one of the big 3 in this division. But the next 3 teams all believe that they can become first place. And we're going on to the Kansas City Chiefs. Was Kansas City's 6-11 season the end of their dominant run? Or was it just a blip that ended up with Patrick Mahomes being injured? So the big question is that, was last year a blip? Can they bring it back this year? And that all leads off with I think we have to lead it off with, how healthy is Patrick Mahomes to start off with?
First off, it's a blip. For me, it's a blip. I'm gonna make this clear. Now that we're talking about who we believe are the top 3 teams in this division, this was the hardest division in the AFC to do. Right?
100%, yeah.
I think
for sure.
overall NFL, when we start doing the NFC, it was probably top 3, because you can consider the NFC North to be the toughest. Maybe NFC South in the opposite direction to be the toughest. This was up there for me as well because of the 3 teams there. So for me, it's a blip because I flip-flopped this record a lot, right? Well, again, we'll reveal what our final record and where I placed them at is. For me, it's a blip. And for number 1, I think Patrick Mahomes will be back week 1. It feels like he's doing well at training camp. He's playing well. We'll see. I don't think he'll get into any preseason games. I think ultimately he will get back into week 1. If he does miss anything, it'll be the first 2 weeks. That's it. I don't think he's going to be on the PUP list unless something crazy happens from what I have seen. Here's the reason why it's a blip. 2 years ago, they went 15-2, right? This is the first time we're ever talking about the Kansas City Chiefs not being first place in the division going into the next year, right? Because otherwise, we had no, like last year when we did our predictions, we were like, okay, we can't really put them not first place because what have we seen from Mahomes, Mahomes and Reed era, right? They went 15-2. 1 score record was 12-0. Now, we knew the reality was why we want to stick that way, right? So we still gave them the division last year. But the problem was, obviously, we were wrong. Last year, they went 1-9 in 1-scoring games. Now, that 1 win happened to be against the freaking Indianapolis Colts. But that bitterness aside, there's 2 extremes.
That's 2 extremes.
That's 2 extremes where I'm like, because of that, I think they're 1-9, at least 5 and let's say 4-5, 5-4. That should be enough to get back into the playoff mix.
The difference here I'm looking at it is this season. The last couple of seasons where Kansas City had success was more so led by their defense. Their defensive, especially the secondary position, has had a lot of turnover, losing both their cornerbacks to the LA Rams. The front is still good. We have Chris Jones, George Karlaftis. The linebackers, you still have Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil. Still a good enough defense. You still have your DC as well in Spagnuolo. The main thing is that can this offense become explosive again? Good news for Patrick Mahomes. He's partnered up with the reigning Super Bowl MVP in Kenneth Walker in the backfield.
Yeah.
And the last time we saw this offense be really, really fun, Eric Bieniemy was their offensive coordinator.
Now, he wasn't the play caller, but yeah, he's back.
But Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator again. So we'll see. Those are some things that obviously we have to take note of because in my personal opinion, I'm not going to disrespect Matt Nagy too hard because I don't think Matt Nagy did a terrible job. But I felt like there was a big difference when you go from Bieniemy to Nagy.
Yeah, and then on top of that, the thing overall with this Chiefs team as well, like, yeah, defensively they may have gotten worse. Although they did draft a cornerback to potentially replace. I still trust Spags enough. Chris Jones is up there in age. That's the biggest concern for me. Offensively, I feel like they'll be fine because, like, again, every post Tyreek Hill, even like Travis Kelce kind of showing his age a little bit, we're like, okay, this team might not do much. Outside of last year, they got to the Super Bowl, they won the Super Bowl, whatever the case might have been, right? You're hoping for a healthy and hopefully law-free thing from Rashee Rice.
Both wide receivers, low-key.
Yeah. Xavier Worthy was still solid for them. And then obviously Tyquan Thornton was the guy who took the big step for them last year as well. So, like, ultimately, I still like the weapons in that sense. But again, you gave them a proper run game for the first time ever. That will help hopefully help alleviate pressure coming back from injury at the end of the day. So, yeah, for me, like, again, going back to the initial question, these are the reasons why it's going to be a blip. Because at the end of the day, we're going to have a quarterback ranking video. I still believe that Patrick Mahomes is still one of the in the elite tier top four quarterback in the NFL. Although now, before once upon a time, it was Patrick Mahomes and everybody else. That conversation is now shrunk, the bar of it. But outside of that, they should be back in the mix.
I know we have mentioned everything around Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes himself hasn't looked like the Patrick Mahomes we once saw these last couple of seasons, especially this past season. So a lot of it is on him as well. Good news from him is that as long as he's healthy, and if he is healthy for week 1, his weapons are there from the beginning.
Hopefully.
And he has a run game. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. And the biggest thing is now left is that can Patrick Mahomes return to form? But when you move on to the Chargers here, their quarterback's question is, can he finally capitalize on his talent and take this team from average first round exit to championship winning a playoff and a proper playoff threat?
So here's the thing. This video is about the regular season. So we don't have, obviously you're trying to get to the point where can they be playoff ready? We know Justin Herbert, and he's one of my favorite quarterbacks, or he probably is my favorite quarterback in the NFL. Regular season wise, we do not have any big concerns because this guy out of the 4, well, maybe Raiders aside, but out of the top teams doesn't have the weapons you would think some of these other guys have, right? Or even added. The big thing here is the addition of Mike McDaniel, but also the loss of Jesse Minter. Let's start off with the offense. Let's start off positive. Mike McDaniel, the big question mark I'm going to have with Mike McDaniel is how is he going to get along with Jim Harbaugh? Because Jim Harbaugh's old school. Mike McDaniel's new school creative guy, right? How are they going to really clash heads? Obviously, I love the hire. This offense has potential to be the best top 5 offense, even the best offense in the NFL, no doubt about it. If only they got him a little bit more weapons. This is gonna be a fun football team to watch. And Justin Herbert has not shown bad regular season play.
He has not shown bad regular season play. For sure, right? At the end of the regular season, he's been steady enough. He's gotten the job done. He has made the playoffs multiple times in his career. The question mark here is that this team's ceiling relies on Justin Herbert. If this team's ceiling is Super Bowl, that means that depends on how Justin Herbert plays in the playoffs. But again, that's going to be talked in a later video, right? Right now, I want to talk about the thing that you just brought up with Mike McDaniel being new school and Jim Harbaugh being old school. You know what the good news for both of that? And they have a good connection. Old school, you're looking at physical run game. Mike McDaniel is known for his run game. So running the football, there is a connection there. It may not be as physical. There will be a little bit more creativity to it. But their depth at running back is really good with Amarian Hampton, Keaton Mitchell, who's a pacey guy himself, and Kamani Vidal. And their O-line is back, hopefully, and remains healthy in their tackles, especially in Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, because we know that those two guys are all pro-worthy tackles. And having Tyler Biadasz in the middle helps improve the interior as well. But if this O-line is healthy, you're not only going to see the run game improve, you should also see Justin Herbert improve as well. And I wouldn't say necessarily Mike McDaniel and this O-line unlock Justin Herbert, because we know what Justin Herbert can be.
Yeah.
But it could maybe help him evolve and break through even into the top tier of quarterbacks.
I mean, what Mike McDaniel could bring for Justin Herbert, the potential from the regular season, MVP.
For sure, 100%. I can see that.
It could easily be there. He's a major upgrade over Greg Roman, although I'll give Greg Roman a little bit of credit. It surprised me a little bit, especially the first year, but obviously a guy like Greg Roman, it only could get stagnant to a certain extent, and we saw during playoff time why it does not work. But we got to talk about the major exit. We talk about the major addition. We got to talk about the major exit, and that is Jesse Minter, who rightfully so got a head coaching position with the Baltimore Ravens. And how will that be on the defense? Because outside of Derwin James, you can't say these guys really have any superstar level in the defense. Obviously, I don't know much about the new DC, Chris O'Leary. We'll see what he ends up doing. But the question does come back to, can he do what Jesse Minter did, right? Because now it's like a give or take situation. The offense might be better, but is the offense going to be significantly better? Or will the defense be significantly worse to overall determine the record?
I think the biggest thing that Jesse Minter did last year was get the best out of his I guess, role players. Kind of like how Mike McDonald does for Seattle, in my opinion, because it's not like they have a top level superstar other than Devon Witherspoon, in my opinion. In this case is Derwin James. Cleo Mack is up there in age, and it's still incredible.
Pretty good.
It's incredible that he's still producing as well.
Yeah.
But these guys do have some young pieces. Good news about them having younger pieces is that they're able to move around quicker, cover more ground, cover the whole entire field. But the biggest thing is that their development was relied upon Jesse Minter. So it's not necessarily that this defense cannot perform. It's that how can the new DC get the best out of them, right? On paper, this defense doesn't look great, but this defense has had a lot of success over the past couple of seasons.
They proved everybody wrong the last few years. And a lot of that it was to the success of Jesse Minter. But at the end of the day, players got to perform, and the players did perform.
Yeah, for sure. So the biggest, like you said, the biggest loss isn't that, they don't have any, it's not the player, it's the coach. So that's the biggest question mark coming into it. And I think that's the biggest question mark possibly making me hold the Chargers back a little.
And they drafted one of your favorite guys, Akeem Massador, as well. So he's a young guy that you could hope that he's right now based on the Our Lads depth chart behind as this not the starter, but obviously his projection will be a starter for the most part. Miami, right? He was at the U.
At the U.
Yeah.
Him and Ruben Bain were the duo.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, they have some pieces. We'll see what ends up happening. But one last question I do want to ask you, similar to the Raiders. We know what the defense question marks are going to be, but offensively, we know we're going to have hopefully Omari Hampton pops off for those fantasy owners as well that we should expect, because we've seen the history of Mike McDaniel. But can Ladd McConkey be your number one? Can Oronde Gadsden take another step forward? Because I do like the addition of Charlie Kolar and David Njoku. David Njoku has had ball skills in the past, but both of them to help. And also the addition of Alec Ingold to protect, to get the run game going. But in terms of pass catching, though, can Oronde Gadsden or can Ladd McConkey emerge into be the number one guy?
Good news for them that Oronde Gadsden can be that pass catching type of guy.
From the tight end position.
Ladd McConkey, I think, can be that guy. He might not be the bona fide one. But he could still be like the Devontae Smith type of level number one, or I literally had him in my mind.
Zay Flowers?
Zay Flowers, yeah, exactly. Zay Flowers. But Ladd McConkey, I think it was a tale of two seasons. The more second half.
We saw the ups and we saw a little bit of the lows.
But his rookie year was incredible.
But at the same time, QJ wasn't really dropping the ball that much last year compared to his previous years.
Last year in the first half, you're looking at QJ being the number one.
Quentin Johnson,
yes. And Ladd McConkey being the struggle. But at the end of the day, we all know that this team's best success is Ladd McConkey being the best wide receiver on this football team, and Quentin Johnson being the second wide receiver. Yeah. And Oronde Gadsden can be that pass catcher. But the main thing here is that the biggest threat, in my opinion, for them has to be Omari Hampton.
Because here's the thing. Mike McDaniel had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to also help Devon A-Chain and at the time Raheem
But the speed on that.
Right, so this one you don't have those wide receivers. You have the quarterback, that could push the ball down the field, but you do not have the receivers.
So that's where I'm looking at Omari Hampton and how much of a step. The way when Omari Hampton played and got into the starting lineup before he got injured, had a couple of games where he really like popped off, like what we thought Ashton Genty should be doing. Amari and Hampton did. So if this guy's healthy, he has the O-line now. Hopefully they remain healthy. I like knock on wood they do.
Yeah.
I think it should be a big season for Amari and Hampton. I also would probably put my money on him in fantasy football as well.
But yeah, let's move on to the last team we need to talk about, the division reigning holders in the Denver Broncos. Speaking of it, that has Jalen Waddle, as we mentioned earlier.
The team that everyone's chasing.
Yeah.
It's been Kansas City's division.
Yeah.
The Chargers haven't broken through, but Denver is the one that's holding the crown. So when you're looking at the Denver Broncos, can they repeat? The biggest addition that they have was acquiring Jalen Waddle, like you have mentioned. So let's start off with that, because I think that's obviously going to be a huge help for them.
Yeah, so obviously they won 14 games last year. I think the division is still going to be tougher because I believe the Chiefs are going to be back. But the Jalen Waddle addition to help offensively, and hopefully Bo Nix is back healthy as well, is big, because Courtland Sutton is getting up there in age where he can't be the number one anymore. Obviously Jalen Waddle was playing alongside Tyreek Hill to help that, which helped him a lot. But Jalen Waddle had a good year last year for a bad Miami team, and Tyreek Hill was out for pretty much the whole year, right? And Jalen Waddle, there's a reason why in college that he was picked ahead of Devontae Smith, I believe, by one spot. Devontae Smith ultimately did win the Heisman, but different types of receivers, both Bama boys. So him, and then you got, like I said, I think Bo Nix has shut up people in terms of the type of quarterback he is. I was high on him since his draft year in Oregon, when he transferred from Auburn to Oregon. So giving him a guy like Jalen Waddle, and then help Courtland Sutton, that's a major upgrade on the offense. The question mark is now, it's not Sean Payton calling plays apparently, it's Davis Webb. So we'll see what type of offense he calls. But if you're talking about player personnel, like this offense just got better. Simple as that.
100%.
Like the run game is still the same, so you're concerned about J.K. Dobbins' health for the most part. But R.J. Harvey, can he take a step? But Jalen Waddle should help all that out.
Oh, 100%.
One of the best O-lines.
Look, it should elevate Courtland Sutton. That's the main thing here. The O-line is, like you said, is already solid enough. The biggest question mark on the offense, in my opinion, at the moment is Nix and how his mobility is going to be after recovering from a broken ankle.
Yeah.
Good news for him is that he had all offseason to recover. It's not like it happened during the offseason. It happened at the end of last season, which ultimately ended the Denver Broncos year. But from 2 years, when you're looking at Bo Nix's report card, it's 100% passable. There's no other way of looking at it, right?
Well, he was the last quarterback picked.
Yeah.
He's easily ahead of Michael Penix at this point, and he's obviously ahead of J.J. McCarthy at this point.
Exactly. And then the top three we have is Caleb Williams,
Jaden Daniels if healthy, and
like it's a conversation between the four of them for sure. Yeah. So when you're looking at the Broncos, the biggest question mark for me as of this moment has to be Bo Nix's health, and not his ability, just his health, because coming off an ankle injury is going to affect which is one of the weapons he has, which is his legs. The Broncos were also known to be one of the best comeback teams last year in football. I think Jalen Waddle pushing himself vertical, and Bo Nix's ability to throw the ball downfield could be a huge help in that, and also help them solidify their name as the comeback boys. But when I'm looking at this team, there's not really many holes. And I know we haven't mentioned the defense yet, because I don't think we have to mention the defense.
Exactly.
Led by Vance Joseph, and is also known as one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, like the only player they lost was John Franklin Myers, right? Like otherwise, we saw how underrated Nick Bonito was. Now he's a known name. Zach Allen now more of a known name. You have the best cornerback in my opinion in football in Pat Surtain. Obviously, you're hoping a better year for Riley Moss, and then Hufanga on the safety side of things, and then I'll forget who their linebackers were. Yeah. So at the end of the day, we're not going to talk about too much about the defense, because that was their bread and butter last year. They got better on the offensive side by adding a Jalen Waddle. We'll see how ultimately that pays off. And not all the time an addition like this can help. We'll see what the play calling ultimately ends up being. But the ultimate question is, can this team be another 14-win team in this division with the emergence of the Chiefs? And we'll see potentially emergence of the Chiefs once again. Or resurgence, I would say, not emergence.
Yeah.
And maybe a potential emergence of the Raiders, but also can we see a steady Chargers team as well?
Now it's time for us to reveal our rankings. This is the first time we'll be hearing each other's rankings and our records. I will go first.
Are you going 4-3-2-1, or are you going to go 4-4-3-3-2-2-1?
We're going all at once. So I'm saying mine, and then you're saying all yours.
Then we'll explain why we did it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Number 4, I think is to no one's surprise, it is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. I have them at a 5-12 record. Number 3, I have the Los Angeles Chargers, and I have them at 10 wins and 7 losses. Number 2, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I have them at 11-6. And number 1, just like my AFC East prediction, I have the same record, but I'm giving the edge to the Denver Broncos, and I have them at 11-6.
Okay, so I have the Raiders, no surprise, at 4th place. I have them at 6-12, so I was a little bit higher than you.
6-11.
Sorry, 6-11. This is where I was like, maybe because of the division didn't give the edge to Tennessee on a lot of things. But yeah, ultimately 6-11 for them. 3, I have the LA Chargers. I gave them a 9-8 record. 2, this is where I said I had the Chiefs originally at 1st, but I do have the Chiefs at 2nd now at 11-6, and ultimately my division winner is like yours, the Denver Broncos, but I did give them the 12 wins, so a 12-5 record overall.
I think the biggest thing we got to look at right now is...
So we have the same top 4.
We have the same top 4.
So, so it ended up being the same top 4 for the hardest division in AFC.
The thing that we got to look at is Denver not being the contenders for the number 1 seed again.
Well, for like the whole AFC, or are you talking about?
Because this is our 4th installment of the AFC.
Yeah.
So I guess for both of us.
I mean, I have Houston clearly way higher.
I think the biggest reason for me, I don't know if you agree or disagree, is that Denver is playing a tougher division opponents and is also playing the NFC West, which is an incredibly tough division. That's why I don't have them at the 14 wins anymore. For me, the Chargers, I think they are right there.
See,
I think the Chargers are closer.
I was a little surprised.
I think the Chargers are closer than you think. I think they're a double-digit win team here. I don't think they're a 9-8 because 9-8 is clearly out.
Considering I gave them the 9, and usually I'll be higher on them, but like I'm surprised you have the Chiefs higher than the Chargers, just because you were off camera. You were saying how you were low on the Chiefs, and now lo and behold, you have them attention because they originally had the Chiefs at 13 wins. Then I kind of like, okay, let me take a step back. And then I switched it because I'm like, I'm not going to disrespect the Broncos this year like I did last year. The reason why I have the Chargers at 9-8, I just think the defense might take a little bit of a hit compared to the offense for the most part. I think that's a big factor. I think the schedule was fine. Like, it was a favorable schedule. I could see them winning, but then you know how to say they could charger it up. But as much as I want Justin Herbert to be in the MVP conversation and win it all, is it going to surprise me that they win this division? No. Maybe outside of the fact that outside of their name is the Chargers. But I ultimately, similar to the Jags, I'm a little bit lower on these guys just because of the Jesse Minter loss might be huge in my personal opinion compared to the addition of Mike McDaniel, because I still believe Justin Herbert would have been a good enough offensive quarterback to put them into the mix. Mike McDaniel would obviously level it up a little bit further.
And that is fair. The Raiders we have obviously at number 4. The last team I just quickly want to bring up is the Kansas City Chiefs. I do expect to believe this offense is going to become one of the best offenses in the NFL. Again, I feel like the support of Kenneth Walker for Patrick Mahomes is going to be huge, and it could help ease him back in. And at the end of the day, Andy Reid is still the guy. I don't know how much I trust his reputation more than the regression from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes for the last couple of years. And the good news for them is that I don't think Travis Kelce needs to be that Travis Kelce anymore, because I think Rashee Rice, in my opinion, looking at football ability-wise, can have one of those breakout years where he emerges as a bona fide number 1 wide receiver in this league. For me, it's like I can't bet against Reid and Mahomes. This is pretty much the last year. If they kind of struggle again a little bit, maybe next year I'll be more favorable for the Chargers. Maybe I'll be a bit more favorable for the Chiefs. The Broncos in general. But yeah, pretty much. That's what our order is. Obviously, it's a tight division. Let's just say that it's gonna be a fun. My thing is separated by 1 win.
When we come back and we tell our playoff teams, it's gonna be a fun who you ended up picking in their overall. I mean, those of you that have been watching the videos, you could tell the gist of who it's gonna be, but it's gonna be still interesting to see overall.
Oh, it's gonna be a tight race in the AFC. And speaking of the AFC, this is our final predictions of the AFC divisions. The AFC West is now completed. If you guys enjoyed this video, then you guys should be enjoying the video that's popping up on screen, which is the AFC South predictions. The big topic about that, can CJ Stroud get the crown back, or will it be Trevor Lawrence's to defend? So we'll catch you guys over there in the AFC South video, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.